Hey everybody, it's Dana and welcome back to day 4 of my Valentine's Day card series for 2019. Let's go ahead and get started. I am playing around with this beautiful die from Simon Says Stamp, and this is called the DECO Hearts Wafer die. Absolutely beautiful, and we're going to do some embossing with this die. So instead of cutting through the paper, we're just going to emboss that beautiful image into the paper. So I went ahead and I placed down my die, and I made sure to use a little bit of washi tape so that this does not shift. I'm going to place it die side facing up, the cutting side facing up, my tan embossing mat, and then I'm going to put on my embossing plate and I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. Now, once it comes out, you will see that the die did not cut through the paper. It just gave this beautiful embossed look. I love doing this with my dies because I'm able to stretch them a little bit more than just keeping them as images that I cut out. I'm going to go ahead and do this 2 more times as I want to have several hearts that I can put on cards a little bit later. So again, I'm placing my die face down, flipping the paper over so the cut side is up. I'm putting on my tan mat and my other plate on top and running it back through my die cut machine. And look at that. You get this gorgeous embossed look into your paper. Now, I want to spice these up a little bit. So I'm going to color these with some distress inks. The first color I'm using is Candy Apple. And when you add the ink to this, you can really see the detail of this gorgeous heart. I mean, it's absolutely stunning. Simon Says Stamps has some of the prettiest dies. Next, I'm going to come in and take a very pretty light pink, and this is spun sugar, and I'm going to ink up this heart right here. Now, whatever color you use, it's going to look beautiful because the ink is only going to lay on the part that is raised. You can get it down into the grooves if you want it to go that deep into the color, but otherwise it's just going to come right across on everything that's raised. Because it's embossed, the embossed section is going to take the ink. I'll just continue to sponge on some of this color. And then for that last one, I want to add a color variation in that. So for my last one, I'm going to use the spun sugar first and place that kind of down in the center. This is going to allow me to get some nice color variations on this one. Next, I'm going to come in with that candied apple, and I'm just going right along the edge, keeping some of that center still that lighter pink. Now, again, you can do this in any color combination you want, but trust and believe me, it's actually going to look beautiful. Now, since I have that color built up a little bit, I am going to come in with a third color, and that's picked raspberry. And I'm just deepening up that pink just a tad bit. And look how gorgeous this is. Now, you could do all of this across your card and get that raised effect, but what I'm going to do is I want to die cut these out separately. So I'll have 3 hearts to put on Valentine's Day cards a little bit later. I am using the matching die that comes with this die. It's the outline part of this heart. So you can go ahead and emboss with this and then come in and take the outline of the heart and cut that out. Now I am going to use some washi tape on this because the embossing is in the paper. If I just put the die down, it might have a tendency to shift. So I'm going to make sure that I tape that down firmly. So when I run it through my die cut machine, I'm not going to have any issues. So you can see my very well and loved cutting mat here. And I'm just placing that down on there. I'm going to flip it over, cut side up, and then I'll run this through my machine. Now I'm going to show you what this looks like when it die cuts out. And look how gorgeous this heart is. I am going to take that candied apple and just go around the outside of my heart. I just want to give it a little bit of a shadow. And this is just a perfect way to kind of add a little bit of pizzazz to a die cut image. Instead of just keeping the border white or the color that you embossed it with, it has an opportunity for that center color to kind of settle back and your edges kind of pop. All right, once I have the color that I need, and I don't have to be perfect on this, I just want to give that heart a beautiful little shadow. And look how gorgeous this is. It really makes the center of that heart look so beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I cut out all of the hearts, so the other two hearts. And again, I'm just inking up the edges. Now, again, if you don't want this, if you don't want the inking around the edge, don't do it. It's totally up to you. Remember, card making is fun. You can be inspired, but remember to put your own twist on it. So this is the one that has that little bit of pink in the middle. And now I have all three of them cut out. And I'm going to take two of those and set them aside for future Valentine's Day cards. And I'll just use the one that has the pink center today. Now I'm going to go ahead and place that onto a stitched panel. I went ahead and ran this through my die cut machine, and I have a nice little stitching, a rectangle stitching around that. I'm going to keep this card really clean and simple. So I'm just going to use a cute little sentiment, and I just want to make sure I put my heart in the right place so I know where my sentiment needs to be. Now for my sentiment, I'm using the tiny words, and this is from Simon Says Stamp as well. I love, love, love the sentiments in this stamp set, and I'll make sure to link all the products down below so you can make this card as well. I'll line that up. And again, I'm going to keep this card really clean and simple. So just placing this sentiment kind of right below the heart is just going to make this a clean and simple card. I'll go ahead and close my MISTI lid, pick up that sentiment, and then I can go ahead and move the heart out of the way because I don't need it there anymore. I'm using my ink on 3 Blackout ink, and I'll go ahead and close down my MISTI lid and press. Now, a little tip, anytime you're using sentiments that are smaller in the font size, don't press too hard. If you have to double stamp it, it's better to double stamp than to press down too hard and your words seem to look like they've bled out. So just keep that in mind. Now, since I have that done, and I love this sentiment, you are strong and God is stronger. Together, you are unstoppable. Love that sentiment. All right, now all I need to do is put my heart on. I'm deciding to pop this heart up just to give my card a tad bit of dimension. But look how beautiful that card looks already with nothing else. And I know I always throw some glitter or I throw some sequins on a card, but this one I really just want to keep it clean and simple. So I went ahead and I took a piece of double foam tape and I split it down the center because I didn't need it to be very wide on this heart. And then I can just use my Tim Holtz little scissors here and snip any extra off. Now again, if you want to make this in several colors, it's really easy to mass produce and you can make those Valentine's Day cards in a snap. Emboss all of your hearts first, pick up the colors you want to use for your hearts, sponge them all up, ink them up in pretty colors, and then die cut them out. So like I said, I already have 2 to go on cards a little bit later. Now I can go ahead and press that heart into place and look how beautiful that looks. Now I do want to sponge around the edge of this panel, just like I did the heart. So I'm just grabbing that same blending tool that I was using earlier in that candied apple, and I'm just inking up around the sides. The reason I'm doing this is I'm going to place this on a white card base, and I just didn't want this to just be absorbed into the white card base, really where you wouldn't really see the stitching. So I'm just going to add a little bit of that red just to make this panel kind of pop off of that white card base. Now, once that is done, I can go ahead and start finishing off my card. So again, I'm just using a white card base, and this is Neenah Solar White 110-pound card base. That is like my go-to card base when I make cards. I'll use my ATG gun to go ahead and put some of that extra tape on the back of this. And I'm just going to add down a little bit more adhesive just to make sure that stays in place. I always like to use my grid mat to help me line up my card panels. So I'll just eyeball that right in the center, and then I can place down that panel. And look, we have a beautiful Valentine's Day card. All right, everybody, that is day 4 of my Valentine's Day card series. I will see you guys back here on Friday for another video. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.